Welcome to another segment of Habari Gani. What's the news? I am your Kwanzaa coordinator, Carlana Medors, and I am honored to be here at 81 Allen Street with one of our vendors for Kwanzaa. Introduce yourself.
Cyber African Import.
All right, so his business is Sabu African Imports. You have been here at the heart of Allen for how many years?
Oh, more than 20 years.
So you have been vending at Kwanzaa for how long?
Oh, forever. I've been in Buffalo for 27 years. I've been vending in Kwanzaa every single year.
And why should people come to Kwanzaa?
Oh, people come to the Kwanzaa because they love it, dance. The other things, everybody coming for different experience. But Eastern African holiday, West African holiday, and we celebrate the day after the Christmas to take us to the New Year, and every day have the different mean. The all mean is good, nothing else at all. Just get together, get funny, know each other's, take us to the New Year.
And most importantly, it's the opportunity for them to come and buy wonderful African products, such as what you have here in the store. So tell us, what will you be vending at this year's Kwanzaa?
Oh, this year Kwanzaa, I've been vending African dresses, women, men and women in clothes, and shea butter, black soap, and some basket. Basically everything is from Africa, and we're selling that here.
Awesome. So there you have it. This is your business segment. Habari Gani, coming from Kwanzaa, getting ready for Kwanzaa, and we want you to come and celebrate with us. Peace and love.
I am Cyber African Import, 81 Allen Street, location 81 Allen Street in Buffalo, New York. And I'm here to selling African dresses, shea butter, black soap, men and women clothing, fan, waist bead, and oil. Everything you're looking for African stuff, we got it here. I hope I see you in the Kwanzaa. This year Kwanzaa is gonna be the big one ever. Please don't miss the Kwanzaa this year. We have a different with every other years. If you miss this year, don't bite your finger. Okay, happy Kwanzaa. See you in the Kwanzaa.
Habari Gani. Ujima. Good day, everyone, and it is a wonderful day to be celebrating Kwanzaa. We are here on Ujima night. My name is Brandon Williamson.
I am Deatra Amber.
And first thing we want to do is request permission from our elders to speak.
Permission granted. Thank you, Elder. We would like to open up with the Tamshi La Tambiko, which is our libation statement. Our fathers and mothers came here, lived, loved, struggled, and built here. At this place, their love and labor rose like the sun and gave strength and meaning to the day. For them then, who gave so much, we give in return. On this same soil, we will sow our seeds and liberation and a higher level of human life.
May our eyes be the eagle, our strength be the elephant, and the boldness of our life be like the lion. May we remember and honor our ancestors and the legacy they left for as long as the sun shines and the waters flow.
Ashe. For our people everywhere then, for Shaka, Samori, and Nzinga, and all the others known and unknown, who defended our ancestral land, history, and humanity from alien invaders, we pour libations. Ashe. For Garvey, Muhammad, Malcolm, and King, Harriet, Fannie Lou, Bethune and Nat Turner, and all of the others who dared to define, defend, and develop our interests as a people. We pour libations. And at this time, please call out your ancestors' name as we pour libations for all of those who we have lost in the struggle. Son, Edna Ruth Day, Ashe. 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 Mama Lemmy, Ashe. Whoo, Mama Peggy, Ashe. Ashe. Whew. That was a lot. 2020 is deep. For our children and the fuller and freer lives they will live because we struggles, we pour libations. For Kawaida and the Nguvu Saba, the new system of views and values which gives identity, purpose, and direction to our lives, for the new world we struggle to build, and for the continuing struggle through which we will inevitably rescue and reconstruct our history and humanity in our own image and according to our own needs. Ashe, we pour libations. Ashe. Thank you. This time, I would like to ask Brandon to sing Lift Every Voice. And those of you at home, go ahead and stand up and sing together. Lift Every Voice, our Black national anthem.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Please remain standing for the UNIA pledge by Amy Jacques Garvey. This flag of mine.
Here's to this flag of mine, the red, black, and green, hopes in its future bright, Africa has seen.
Here's to the red of it. Great nations shall know of it in time to come.
Red blood shall flow of it, historians shall write of it, great flag of mine.
Here's to the black of it, 400 million back of it, whose destiny depends on it, the red, black, and green of it, oh, flag of mine.
Here's to the green of it, young men shall dream of it, face shot and shells of it, waving so high.
Here's to the whole of it, colors brought and pole of it. Pleased is my soul with it, regardless of what is told of it, thanks God for giving it, great flag of mine.
Asante Sana, thank you. Please be seated and relax in your own home. Now we are going to go over the symbols of Kwanzaa.
Now, Kwanzaa has 7 basic symbols and 2 supplemental ones. Each represents values, concepts, and reflective of African culture and contributive to community building and reinforcement.
The basic symbols in Swahili will be given and then in English. And Brandon is going to point them out. First, we have the moseo, the crops. These are symbolic of African harvest celebrations and of the rewards of productive and collective labor. Then we have the mkeka, the mat. This is symbolic of our tradition and history, and therefore the foundation on which we build. Then we have the kinara, the candle holder. This is symbolic of our roots, our parent people, continental Africans. Then there is the muhindi, the corn. This is symbolic of our children and our future, which they embody. Next, we have the Mishuma Saba, which are the 7 candles. These are symbolic of the Nguzu Saba, the 7 principles, the matrix and minimum set of values which African people are urged to live by in order to rescue and reconstruct their lives in their own image and according to our own needs. Next, we have the Kikombe Cha Umoja, which is also known as the Unity Cup. This is symbolic of the foundational principle and practice of unity, which makes all else possible. Next, we have the Zawadi, the gifts. These are symbolic of the labor and love of parents and the commitments made and kept by their children. And 2 of the supplemental symbols are the bandera, the flag. The colors of the Kwanzaa flag are the colors of the organization US. Black, red, and green. Black for the people, red for their struggle, and green for the future and hope that comes from their struggle. It is based on the colors given by the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey as national colors for African people throughout the world. And the second supplemental symbol is the Nguzu Saba poster, which is a poster embodying the 7 principles of Kwanzaa.
Since we're talking about the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, let's talk about them more in depth, shall we?
Sure. Let's get into it.
Let's dive into it. We are celebrating Ujima, which is the 3rd day of Kwanzaa. And so with that, we are going to go into what the first few days are. We're going to explain exactly what all these days mean for you as well.
So the first night of Kwanzaa is Umoja, which means unity. And this is for us to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, and nation, as well as our race.
Second day is Kuti Chakulia, which is self-determination. In other words, we will determine who we are, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and to speak for ourselves.
And tonight is Ujima, collective work and responsibility to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together.
And you know what? We're going to read all of them, right? We're going to read every single one of them. We're going to go through every one. So you want to take the next one as well?
Are we reading through every single one of them?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, that's
This is a learning
dope.
experience for the people at home. For those of you who are just celebrating up to Ujima, we have even more days coming up, including tomorrow, which is
Ujamaa, also known as cooperative economics, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together.
The next day is Nia, which is purpose. All right, to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness.
Yes. Then we have Kuumba. I think Kuumba might be my favorite.
I was going to say the same thing.
Kuumba is creativity. To always do as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than how we inherited it.
And then the last one is imani, which is faith. To believe with all of our heart we believe in all of our heart in all of our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. You know, the way that I learned these was through a song at the Ujima Theater Company. I'm not going to sing it now.
You're not gonna sing it now?
No, not at all. Because it's a choral song. We sing it together. But you know, it ingrained these principles into my mind from a young age all the way up until today. And so even singing those words now, you might hear them one day in the future, or you might hear them one day this week. You might hear this song. So these are the principles that we all wanted to cover for you today. And now we're going to celebrate each and one of these days leading up to today. And so there is one black candle in the center of the Kinara. This represents the people. The 3 red candles to the left of the black candle represent the people's struggle. The 3 candles to the right of the black candle represents the future and hope that come from the struggle. Make a group commitment to practice and promote that particular principle throughout the year. We light the black candle on the first night of Kwanzaa, December 26th, to represent the people of unity, Umoja. On the second night of Kwanzaa, we light the black candle first, then 1 red candle next to the black candle to represent self-determination, Kujichakulia. And today, on the third evening, we light the black candle first, then the red candle, and then light 1 green candle next to the black candle to represent collective work and responsibility.
Everything is fine. I'm looking for that. Everything is fine. I'm looking for that. Everything is fine. I'm looking for that.
I've been working hard for these cities, too hard for me. And I'm going far, never listen, going for me. I've been working too hard for these cities. And I'm going far, never listen. You can hate on this one. I don't care cause I'm wrong. You can hate on this one. I don't care cause I'm wrong. Don't you see yourself as wrong? Don't you see yourself as wrong? Don't you see yourself as wrong? Don't you see yourself as wrong?
Everything is fine.
Secret smile, follow. All my life I listen to stay fine. I am no damn this guy. Follow. Secret smile, follow. Secret smile, follow. Follow. Secret smile, follow. Follow. Secret smile, follow. Follow. Secret smile, follow. Oh, what the fuck? Secret smile, I'm not saying I am perfect. You sound foolish, but never when the world ends. Everybody's different. Things go wrong, so I'm gonna tell
All right, good people. So this is the second part of our show that's going to take place right now. We're going to need a couple of hands getting the banners out of the way. Habaragani? Okay, Habaragani means make sure that your neighbor knows so that we all are on the same page. Some books say they don't want you speaking in tongues unless there's an interpreter. So when we speak in Kiswahili, we making sense because we have a BC history. Everybody know what BC means? Before captivity. Just for today, just for today. Because it's not a religious celebration, it's a cultural celebration. So I just want to give you some cultural terms so that when you hear them, we all on the same page. So before captivity, we come from nations, lands, places, and we have a history and a culture that many of the religious books even talk about. One of the things that's important to us is that we protect and preserve our elders. So I hope that the elders are somewhere close by. Make sure you talk to them, that you listen to them, and that you take your children to see them more than you do the television, more than you do the radio, and more than they look at Facebook. They should know their grandmothers, their aunties, and their uncles. Second thing is I want to see, because I like to give children an opportunity to be very good. So all of the children that's like 13, 14 and under, I want them to come right to the front. I want them to come to the front, and I want them to sit down for as long as they can, but I want them to be orderly because this part of the program is really for the next few generations. All right? The next few generations are going to be important because they're going to have opportunities that many of our parents only dreamed of. All right? So Project Access to Africa means access to a free spirit. Every Sunday from 3 to 6 you can hear us on WFO. And we have today assembled a whole lot of good people to come forward and bring you a lot. Featuring the next generation is really important to us. So, what I want to do first of all is I want to take everybody back to Africa. We're gonna journey together. You all on a journey for a little while. We want to act like we're going to a different place, a different state of mind. We're on our way back to the ancient culture and tradition of Mali. All right. So can we do a little bit of Mali Bop? And as we start, I want to give you all the names of some of these musicians.
We have Jamil Adewale Kasulu. This is how they made me. That's my mother's breast. Some to do, some to rip. Now there are these screws and bloody Jews from the lower lip. God, I miss my mother's milk. If only I could have just one more sip. And the choir sings, Jesus, come and save me, cause this is how they made me. But after expressing swollen the limits of a child who once lived without care, as toddler fingers tugged at her hair, in fact, the truth and truth of fact, we all remember receiving life there. Thin bullets for which came, evils have come to Cain. Now, there's a restless neck bleeding inside this locked chain. I wonder if I hadn't told and how paid me. I can't say that on t-shirt now. Just be reminded, this is how they made me. Snaps went up and down the coast. Whole families came inventory. Blood and sweat ran day and night. But it was the Memphis still the most. Now, mother, this is sick and folding for that car got an info from that family child who is just a memory or a ghost. Stop! Jesus, can you save me? I feel like a road. This is how they paid me, please. Except with like a pastor now around. This is how they made me see. I was black and became colored. I was African and became Negro. Now, they're up and down the coast. There's a young folks that wanted those. Jesus household and lay it down. Take a look, deep into my eyes. Look, with the reflection like dramatic studies see. There were nations and languages and religions all laid down. Take a look into my eyes. If you dare, you see. Go all up and down the west coast. West side, west side. My mother's was side round. I was a Tobacco, Herrera, the model. I'm waiting on the Negroes to the ocean sorrows. I'm in Libya and Angola. I was a Silver, Kabantu, Congo, take it, Paul, Ubuntu. I became Nigeria, I fought for Fulani, Europe. I was fighting down all the way from Congo and Cameroon. Before Benin, I became Congo and Ghana. I said, Ole, Bete, Nick, Crew, Bassa, Gola, Capella, Susu, Pele, Nimbus, Walton, Euro, Walton, Fule, Monday, Bendiga, Kula, Walton, Medea, I became Sierra Leone, Liberia, Area, give us all, Senegal, She loves me, Joy. Ships are coming to carry on. And if by chance I sing all alone, I pray to be free. Just remember, this is how they made me. I'm Afro-American. 12 generations removed from the Declaration of Independence. I'm African-American. Down Mississippi, Chicago, Green, Los Angeles, Detroit, New Jersey, pause. This is how they made me. Down Atlanta, Buffalo, East Side, Chattanooga, New York, Georgia, Tennessee, pause. This is how they made me. Now I am Anacostia, D.C. Down Maryland, Prince George's County, pause. This is how they made me. Down the United States, down Canada, down Brazilian, Haitian, Dominican, Cuban, Haitian, Puerto Rican, Jamaican, Caribbean, North American, South American, Central American. Oh, and it's so very hard to stay free. Take me see, I'm happy, passing on in the midst of misery, marching on, although I'm weary, smiling on, although my eyes are teary. Sometimes I feel like a ship at sea, I bounce like a ball in some game, pause. That's how they played me. Sometimes that's all pause there.
All right, so now we started off in Africa. I forgot to give a theme.
And I'd like to welcome everybody once again to the Buffalo History Channel. We are now in our fall season. I'd like to thank all of you for watching, binge watching, supporting, subscribing to the Buffalo History Channel. It was a great summer. We had a lot of great content out there. So glad that all of you showed your support. And as we get ready, we're in the midst of our fall season now. This was an interview that I was looking very forward to doing. I've known these two since I met these two back in the mid 1990s, right around the time that I came back from college. They had a bookstore called Harambe Books, was in the Buffalo community for a very long time. And they're also instrumental in introducing the celebration of Kwanzaa to the city of Buffalo. It is my pleasure to welcome to the Buffalo History Channel, Sharon and Kenneth Holly. Holly, welcome to the Buffalo History Channel.
Thank you. Glad to be with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Good to have you with us. And so let's just start from the very beginning. Where did the idea for starting Harambe Books come from?
You want to start?
Well, Harambe came about because when we first got married in 1976, what we did is we decided to do a bookstore. But what we first started in our apartment on Wakefield Avenue in Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
And what we did is we just started collecting books. And then what happened is that we were just going around to different events in the community, like we did Juneteenth and things like that. And then after a while, we got our first bookstore. It was about Maine and Utica in Buffalo. And we started there, and then we went forward to about 3 other locations while we were doing it. But basically, it was all a part of that Black consciousness, Black arts movement that started in the 60s and 70s. You had folks like in probably each corner of the city, of the country. You had people down in New York, East. You had people in Chicago with Hakeem Adabudi. You had Karinga in Los Angeles, and a brother named Kwame Salam down in Indiana. So what we did is we picked up on that movement and tried to become a center, really, not just a bookstore, but a community center. Because like when people come into town, usually one of the first things they go into contact is your bookstore, for information, really. It goes back all the way to Michelle's bookstore in New York, that they expect the bookstore to be a place where they can come and learn about community activities, what's happening in that community, beside having books and other cultural things going on in that bookstore.
So I would just add to that too, that at the time we started, I know that the brother, oh my goodness, I forgot his name that quick, had a bookstore on Jefferson Avenue.
Martin Sostra.
Martin Sostre, right. But this was before we came about. So by the time we started to sell books, in order to get black books, you had to go to a Toronto, Third World Books in Toronto or Detroit. Had black bookstores or places outside the city. In the city, the bookstores only sold Donald Goins and Iceberg Slim. That's all you could find. And if you start asking about history, it's like, we don't know what you're talking about. And so we decided we needed to fill that void. And that's one of the reasons why we started.
Okay. Okay, so one of the things that I can remember about your bookstore is that you all, not only did you sell books, you also had different events in your bookstore. And I can specifically remember around the mid 90s, that was right around the same time that the Million Man March was about to take place, or it had already taken place. Talk to us, take us back to some of the most memorable events that you had in the bookstore, in Harambe Books.
Well, that goes back to what I was saying, that the black bookstore was so much more than a bookstore. We had people like Hakeem Madabodian. We had Mr. Cameron, who was one of the survivors of a lynching. And we had Dr. Simpkins come in talk about music. And also we had storytellers, Sharon and Kareem Amin, and another sister did storytelling and did a Kwanzaa program that was printed in one of the black magazines. So all these activities were really part of a black bookstore, really. It was just expected, if you, like I said, if you're going to go to a black bookstore, you could find these kind of events going on.
Right. Plus, we were open to the community. I remember at Maine and Utica, we had an African Studies workshop for children, and we had a study group for adults. And it was in our bookstore at Maine and Utica that we helped to accommodate the Nation of Islam after Elijah Muhammad passed away, when they started to restart the Nation of Islam under Minister Farrakhan. We were open to allowing them to meet in the bookstore to get it started. So we can say that they started, up there with Minister Farrakhan, bringing him to Buffalo and having their study group meetings there as well.
And the strange part about that is that once the Nation of Islam left, we had a Christian Nationalist church come in right after them, and they had their services there too. So it was like one left, another one came in.
Yeah. Open to everyone. So how long did Harambe Books start from? How long did Harambe Books run until?
Well, I say, we had the idea to kind of start, that was in 1976. And we moved from Wakefield to Maine and Utica. And then we entered a cooperative effort with Tafawa Hicks, who was doing art framing. And he had a place on Fillmore and Utica. And so once we left Maine and Utica, we shared space with him, Images of Us, Tafawa Hicks, at Fillmore in Utica. So he did art framing, and he had photos on one side, and we had books and cards on the other side. And we stayed in that until maybe mid-1990s. And then decided, because at the time we were both working other jobs and trying to do the bookstore, and we were employing like one or two people to help out while we were at work, and then we come in after work and we work the store. So after a while we said, okay, we're gonna give it up, and we sold it. we sold it to Brother Africa,
Right.
Pat
Right.
Freeman,
Vera Martin.
and Vera Martin, right? And they had a location on Sycamore near um, Michigan.
Michigan. Yep.
So they kept the same name, and they were still running Harambe books from there. But after a few years, they decided they wanted out, and we decided, well, we was kind of still in the book business because we were doing vending. So we say, okay, we'll just buy the stuff back and open again. But so as to not to do the confusion, that's when we changed the name. So after we got it back from them, we changed the name to be Zawadi Books instead of Harambe Books. And then our first location after that was on Main Street near Jewett. We had a storefront there at Main near Jewett. We stayed there a number of years, 4 or 5 years, and now we're on Jefferson between Woodlawn and Glenwood, always with the hope that we would stay in the African American community because of the books that we were selling. We thought it was important that people in our neighborhood see these kind of stores that could cater to us. And if other people want it, well, they just have to make that trek to come in our neighborhood.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so now I'd like to segue, because not only were you the founders of Harambe Books, but you also were instrumental, as I said earlier, in introducing the celebration of Kwanzaa to the city of Buffalo. Could you talk to us about how that first came about?
Well, let me just do one correction.
Okay.
Okay, we were not the first people to introduce Kwanzaa to
Okay.
Buffalo. Kwanzaa celebrations have been going on at the Center for Positive Thought,
Okay.
at the Watu Center on Jefferson Avenue, and at the African American Cultural Center. What we did from Harambe Books, we invited all of these representatives from our cultural organizations to come together to form a committee so that we could do Kwanzaa more than one night. For example, the center might do one night, and then African Culture Center was doing a night. So we decided, why don't we have a committee where we could do Kwanzaa at least 6 nights a week during that week, and each cultural center would have a night. So we might have started at the Center for Positive Thought on opening night. The second night we went to the African American Cultural Center. And so the committee put together a format that we could use for opening and closing that would stay the same, but the program, each community center would be responsible for the program, hoping that they would highlight their activities that were going on at their center. So when people came in, they could say, well, we offer dance class, we have art classes, we do this, and they could showcase some of the children or adults who were in their program. So that was how part of that committee. I'll let Kenneth talk
I
about.
was just going to give a shout out to them community centers because something needs to be said about them. Because everybody was saying, oh, you're not going to be able to bring these community centers together. Each of them going to want their own night, So what happened was just the opposite happened. They were very receptive. Each of them took one night and we moved it every night to a different center. So these centers were instrumental in us forming the Kwanzaa committee because it wasn't a big struggle, big argument between these centers. All these centers wanted to buy into this idea.
And also with it, where we would have the meetings together to talk about, some of us would go into schools to explain what Kwanzaa was, because at the time, a lot of people were reluctant to celebrate because they say, oh, no, I'm Christian, I'm Muslim, I can't do Kwanzaa. And we had to explain that Kwanzaa had nothing to do with religion, that it was a cultural holiday. So we did this information with children and with adults trying to explain you know, what symbols we use, what the symbols were, how to celebrate. And what I found different and encouraging was some people would not go to different centers. Like if you were in the fruit belt, you get all the kids from the fruit belt. They're gonna come to the neighborhood, to the neighborhood house, but they might not come to the African American Cultural Center. You know, so there was kind of like these boundaries that some of these kids wouldn't cross for different reasons. Could be transportation, or could have been others. But you know, when we would go to Fruit Belt, you see these kids later, like April and May, and they go, "Hey, when is Kwanzaa coming?" You know, 'cause they knew about that night that Kwanzaa was going to be over in the Fruit Belt,
Right.
and they associated us with Kwanzaa, so they want to know what night you coming back over here. They have Kwanzaa.
And a lot of that too, because one of them that's the food was feast night,
Yeah.
and they want to know what they can eat. You know,
Mhm.
so they want to come back especially for the food.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So the
Well,
committee, we never had officials like president, vice president. The
okay.
committees were open. Anybody could join the committee. Some people came, they worked 2 or 3 years, and then they did something else. Some people came and stayed with the committee, you know, for a number of years. Some only came for 1 year, and then they did something else. And we kept adding to the celebration. For example, when Dr. Kofi Lamote and Dr. Mwala Mushuja came to Buffalo to work at the university. They had been out at East Palo Alto, California during Kwanzaa. So they said, well, out there, whatever Saturday falls in that week of Kwanzaa, we do children's Kwanzaa. So we're like, oh, that's a great idea. So then we added whatever Saturday falls in Kwanzaa, we would do children's Kwanzaa. And the purpose of the children's Kwanzaa was to get the children to do Kwanzaa. You know, we'd have some activity for them, but we wanted them to set things up. They could do the program, the whole bit. We were gonna feed them. You know, we did a couple of hours of children's Kwanzaa. Then that night, of course, we come back and do adult Kwanzaa. So with children's Kwanzaa, I remember one year that they all remembered we took them to roller skating at the rink up on East Ferry Street. So we paid for the tickets and shoes for the kids to just skate, you know. And then we did the Kwanzaa. We set it up. We did the opening ceremony. They skated till they wore themselves out. We fed them, and then they went home. You know, so that was a good memory of them for Kwanzaa. You know, like how Kwanzaa could be celebrated. How Kwanzaa was, was a
Right.
good
Right.
thing.
Of course. Well, I'm certainly glad to got to officially get the clarity, to finally get the clarity on that it was a Kwanzaa committee.
Right.
That it was
Mhm.
okay. One of the things I got this one question. I can remember. Let me see. When I first started coming to the Kwanzaa celebrations, I want to say that it had to have been 1995. I want to say that I actually started coming to the Kwanzaa celebration, because I came back to Buffalo from college in 19 in the 93, early 1994. So it would be around 95 that was my first Kwanzaa celebration. And the one thing that always stood out to me, the moment I walked in, the first thing I saw were those beautiful 7 banners. Could you
Oh yeah.
tell our audience the story behind those banners and how they were made?
Those banners, you want to say?
No, I'm just gonna give Andy Cooper a big shout out for that.
Yeah.
Because them were her banners and her idea how to do them. And she not only did them once, but then she redid them with poles to make them look even better.
Right.
So them banners really give the credit to Enid Cooper for that.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Enid, without any compensation, decided that would be her contribution to Kwanzaa. And so she made these large banners and provided us with the poles to put it up. And of course, as a committee, Each year we were responsible to get there early, set up those banners, set up the Canaras and everything. So it was a community event. And I want to say too, the first Canara we were using was a large Canara that was about 5 feet tall. And that Canara had been brought to us to use by Dr. Molifi Asante. I
Yes.
think he had gotten a Canara from Haiti. It was a wooden Canara that came in two pieces. We had to set it up. And after a while, of course, it became unstable and we were not able to use the large Canara. And so Bill Cooper's son, not Joel, but oh my goodness, I'm bad with names. Anyway, the son of Bill Cooper, we said, oh, we can't use a canard. We didn't want to use a little Yancey, exactly, Yancey Cooper. Yancey said, oh, I'll make you a canard. So the canard that's being used now at the community celebrations, Yancey Cooper made it for the Kwanzaa committee, and it's a large canara that's kind of like in a triangle, and he made that to be used by the committee.
Okay. Now, nowadays, to this day, Kwanzaa has been a very like Juneteenth is a very anticipated event in the Buffalo community, and you also the committee, as we just talked about, still works to this day to present Kwanzaa activities. I'm not sure. Are you still working with the committee, or have you kind of passed the torch officially to the next generation, or are you just, or are you more of a provide a mentorship to?
No, the Kwanzaa committee, the chairmanship of the committee has gone through about 3 or 4 different chairmen now since us. We have passed it down. From our stuff. The main thing we want to do is make sure it stayed alive. In other words, we didn't want this just because Kenneth and Sharon Holly left that it would die. We wanted to pass it on and make Kwanzaa still be alive in Buffalo.
And so there have been a lot of young committee chairpersons. In fact, our daughter Makeda, she was a chairperson one year. Sabria Smith, Karima's daughter, she was chairperson one year. And there have been some younger chair people, and they've done some different things, which is good, because they have different ideas than from what we had. But they have tried to keep it going. I want to say one of the things that we did to try to introduce Kwanzaa to the young group. When we started, most of us were young parents, so we had young kids. So we needed to get all the kids involved in what we were doing. So we called them the Children of Africa. That was all these kids, Guinea Mills kids, Esau Step, and all of their children, Balala Kara, and all her kids. So they were like the Children of Africa. They were responsible for singing the chant at the beginning and setting the table and doing special programs. And I often tease them now because most of them in their 40s. I was like, you all should get back together and do something. They look at me out of one eye like, are you kidding me?
They grew up with it. So.
They have kids now.
Make
their kids work.
To make them upset, though, the strange thing is, though, and no matter where they live in the country, they all want to come back for Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
They all look forward to coming back to Buffalo. They all say the same thing. We can't find this no place else. So we come back to Kwanzaa because remember how Kwanzaa was growing up.
Right.
So no matter what, I can see them coming to Kwanzaa every year in Buffalo, New York.
Right. And the other thing I'd say about that is when we first invited Dr. Malana Karenga, the creator of Kwanzaa, to come, and as most people know, he came to Buffalo almost every year.
I was about to mention that. That was about to be my next thing.
During Kwanzaa, which is very difficult. I mean, because this man had requests to be all over the country and sometimes
Comes to
out of the
Buffalo
country.
every year.
He was coming to Buffalo, and he was asked once, why did he come to Buffalo? And he said he felt the love of the people when he came to Buffalo during Kwanzaa, that he felt that love, that community spirit. And that's why he looked forward, to coming to Buffalo. So we were very lucky in the fact that he would make time out of his schedule to travel during the week of Kwanzaa to come to Buffalo. And I dare say, anybody who had a chance to hear the creator of Kwanzaa speak on Kwanzaa, might not realize it now, but that's a historic event that you can say, because Kwanzaa is relatively a new holiday, 1966, so it's not that old. But you can say that, yes, I attended a Kwanzaa celebration and heard the creator of Kwanzaa speak. So it's almost like you heard it from the mouth of the person who invented it, and you got a chance to ask him questions about, the things that he invented. And I always thought that was so historic for Buffalo, for putting Buffalo on the map for Kwanzaa.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, in closing, I was going to ask. I always ask this of my guests. In closing, what would you say in your own words would be the significance of the Kwanzaa, not just the Kwanzaa Committee, but also the legacy of the bookstores, with continuing the tradition from the Afro-Asian bookstore from Martin Sostra to Harambe Books and now Zawadi Books. What is the importance that they all have to the African American community of Buffalo, New York?
Okay.
I think one of the main things is that it shows African American community what can be done, that we can do it. In other words, Kwanzaa, we didn't go and ask nobody for a holiday. We made the holiday.
Right.
But the bookstores, when we first started bookstores all across the country, it was Black people who started the bookstores, who came up originally having contact with each other for the bookstore. So it was a show of, from us to other Black people and the Black community, what can be done, what is possible. If you work together, if you bring your families in to work with you, that anything is possible, that you can do things, that things can be moved and things grow. Like right now, Kwanzaa's celebrated all across the country, like Kringa says, it's celebrated in other countries. Same things with the bookstores. We got a whole new group of young Black booksellers who are doing it a completely different way. They are people who want to be business people. They see these stores as a business opportunity. They want to get the information out, but they also want to be business people. They want to make money out of it. So my thing is what shows what the possibilities are if you come up with ideas and you stick with them, you involve the family and you involve the community in your idea.
Okay.
So I feel very good that we've started something that I hope would be a legacy, because